Hi, I'm Dave Rheaume, and this is my story. I grew up in Ottawa, so when I think of childhood, I think of snow automatically. Snow and dark. And so that feeling of a winter night is something that I really try to capture in my paintings because to me it's part of my soul. When I think about winters, I try not to just, put snowflakes on the painting. I try to actually think of a temperature, a time of day, or a time of year so that when people look at it, they go, oh yeah, that's just like a morning in March when it's 2 degrees and it's starting to get a little misty and a little warmer. And that to me is the starting point to then put the snow into the paintings. And I would say the snow is still the most popular stuff, although I also do Victorian beach scenes because it's a chance for more color. The thing the snow paintings do is they tend to have a muted color. But snow, I love to paint snow, and I will keep on painting snow probably till the day I'm gone. So. I worked in the film and television business for about 30 years. I had the good fortune to work with some of the best cinematographers in the country. And I learned so much about lighting and how it works. And I'm very much about lighting. It's the first thing on my mind when I do a painting is what is the light, where is it coming from? I consider the reflections, I do ambient light. If a guy is walking along the street, there's a lit up home or somewhere he's going to. I think that's very important so the painting doesn't become too cold. All of that I credit to my years working in television. Often what ends up on the canvas is not the way you saw it in your head the first time when you started out. That's very common. Partly that's my ability to execute what I think I can execute. And sometimes paintings take on a life of their own and they start going off in another direction, and I like to just sort of go with the flow. I try to convey narratives with my work. The narratives I'm really kind of interesting is in the average person's life. So I like to sort of take those individuals and put them back in there and put them in a painting and say, look, this person had a story, they're shuffling off to work, or they're using a horse to pull a wagon along the street. That sort of thing is very interesting. So I feel like I'm resurrecting past lives to a degree when I paint. One thing I really like is to try and stir emotions with art. So I look for artists that have an emotional content to what they do. Probably my favorite, and the guy I get compared to all the time, is Edward Hopper. It's definitely an inspiration of mine. And I really like the work of the French Impressionists. And I try to have my paintings be as impressionistic as possible, which is actually very difficult to do. That's part of what I learned when I was over in Paris. I had the chance to go to the Orsay and look at the Impressionists, and it always surprises me how unrealized their paintings are when you get up close. I mean, things are just little dabs of paint, and I try really hard to emulate that. Don't always succeed, but I try. There's a few ways I deal with a creative mental block. One of them is I usually have a few different paintings on the go. So if I'm just not feeling one, I've got another one. Often they're in a different palette, so if I'm not doing the grays, I'll do this. But to be honest, if I encounter a block, and it happens, I go and do some of the business end of the art then. Maybe I'll go on the computer and research photos, especially with history painting, is that people want to know where a certain place is. That's why I try to go to authentic archives for reference, because they want to know, where is that? And I'll say, oh, it's Montreal 1927, or it's Toronto 1910 on this particular street. That seems important to people because they want to connect with it. I'm trying not to be a documentarian with my art, but I also realize that it's important to get details right because they matter to people. I travel a fair bit, and my travels have been a source of some of my paintings, but I don't paint in the moment when I'm traveling. I do a lot of photography. That's the best way for me to capture. I'll take a whole bunch of pictures. I think I need a bit of time to digest what I've seen on a trip and then figure out what I want to do from that trip. I think you're compelled to create. It's not really like something you can even switch off. If I don't make a piece of art for a while, I'm gonna do something. It's almost a compulsion. The other thing is that it's a bit of a legacy. I think you feel like you're leaving a legacy behind, that if I'm gone in 100 years, people they may not, but they may still be looking at my artwork. And that's an important factor too. But I can't really turn off the creative tap. I'll be doing something. If I wasn't painting, it would be something else. If I wasn't painting, I would probably be a gardener for sure. My garden in my backyard I like garden flooring and statuary and plants, and just if I come back in another life, that's what I'll do.